I'm standing here on the Capitol grounds in Richmond, Virginia, where hundreds gathered today to rally in support of the Second Amendment.
Almost everyone at the rally wore bright orange stickers with the words "Guns Save Lives" printed on them in bold black print. And most in attendance were exercising the right to open carry their handguns, AR-15s, and other rifles. The rally featured several speakers, including U.S. Senate hopefuls Corey Stewart and E.W. Jackson.
Awakening in this country, folks. Don't believe in the press. Don't believe in them. Don't believe in establishment Republicans. Don't believe in the Democrats. Don't believe in all of those socialists who are trying to take away your rights. We have a popular president of the United States who not only is going to get reelected in 2020, but he's going to carry us to historic wins this November to expand our Second Amendment rights and the other rights that we have in this country.
Our founding fathers built those rights into our Constitution, and they did not say that the Constitution gave us those rights. They said the Constitution secured those rights, because those rights are not given to us even by the Constitution. They are given to us by Almighty God, and if Almighty God gave them to us, no government is going to take them away.
Ashley Pancham is a Richmond native and the president of the Black Rifle 9th Cavalry Gun Club. He came out to show his support for the Second Amendment.
I believe, gun rights are civil rights. We had a lot of people that marched and died for us, us specifically as African Americans that have these rights. So I wanted to come out here and let people know that, hey, gun rights are for everybody. And, with the movement out here, I know a lot of the times, a lot of two-way folks, they get classified into a certain type, and I know what it's like to be put into a box. So I wanted to come out here and show my support for them too, to let them know that hey, look, guns are not just for a certain segment of the population. It's for everybody. They're for all of us. So,
do you ever have the fear that you could be, you could be shot by the police for carrying?
Yeah, it's definitely something I've thought of. Like I said, I'm the president of my own gun club, so that's something I had to think about when trying to, ask people to join a gun club with the way the climate was in the country. It's something I had to think about, and I think it's something that everybody has to examine themselves. How they feel. Me personally, I feel good enough with my verbal skills and talking that hopefully I can try to de-escalate a situation before it gets there. But it's definitely something in the back of your mind. When you're carrying, you have to be aware of those type things. So, to me, I'm even more. Once I have my gun on me, I'm even more cautious about de-escalating situations and how I talk and interact with people.
Another speaker at the rally was Jennifer Bennett. Bennett is a survivor of the September 16, 2013 massacre at the Washington Navy Yard that left 12 people dead and 3 injured. She shared her horrific encounter with breaking through.
The story that I shared today was my experience in the stairwell in the Navy Yard for the September 16, 2013 shooting. My story involves faith. Today's indication or message to those here attending the Second Amendment rally is all about not just the tool. He chose a tool. It happened to be a firearm. But there are other ways of harming other people. And so it really was the message of what was happening to him. It was about his heart. It was about the evil he came to do that he allowed to take him to come do harm. But it was about our relationship with each other, and that's who I was allowed to see as a broken person.
You were injured during this time?
I was about 8 to 11 steps from him. He shot me point blank with a sawed-off shotgun, double-aught shot. He shot me in the left arm, left shoulder, and across my chest and my left hand. I had a 5 by 5 inch open wound. He blew away my arm. Essentially, when I assessed my wound after he shot me, I said to myself, well, he shot off my arm. My jacket's holding it in place, and that's exactly what happened. I had shot across my chest, went across my heart. My left hand, my thumb particularly, was blown in half, like when you slice a hot dog in half. That's what my thumb looked like. 2 of my fingers were blown. So the injuries were significant, and after he shot me, I walked from the 3rd deck all the way to the 6th deck by myself.
Brandon Howard is one of the organizers of the rally.
One of the organizers. I'm a member of both the National Constitutional Coalition of Patriotic Americans, and I'm also a founding member of Right to Bear Arms Richmond. So being a member of both organizations that were working to put this event together, and a member of VCDL as well, which also was heavily involved in this event. Between the organizations, talking to each other, It was hours of conversations on the telephone, teleconferences, putting together the logistics, doing the permits, several hours of a lot of people doing a lot of different directions to work to the end goal of the event being what is today.
While Ashley Pancham was open carrying a large rifle Saturday, he said he usually concealed carries his handgun and explained why.
I'm pretty much more of a concealed carry person in my day-to-day life. Like, I conceal carry just for the sake of the fact of I don't like to advertise that I'm carrying a gun. I think if you ever were in a situation where you need it, I don't want to be the one that's advertising I have it where somebody picks me out first. So I normally conceal carry. I've had my concealed since I turned 21 and went and took the classes.
Brandon Howard said it was important to have the rally to remind the government that the people are in charge and can use their Second Amendment rights to stand up to a tyrannical government.
We have a Constitution. Some people seem to think that the Constitution is a function of our government. The Constitution is not a function of our government. The government is a function of our Constitution. It is we the people who give the consent of the governed to be governed. If we the people withdraw our consent because our consent is not being respected, then it's we the people. That's why we have a Second Amendment. When there is a tyrannical government, the threat and the knowledge that the people can rise against the government when we withdraw our consent is an important thing. I hope that day will never come, and that our politicians that are elected respect the consent of those that they govern and understand that the Constitution is not their function to play with. They function under the Constitution itself.
Ashley Pancham said his gun club is open to people of all races, but does have an interest and focus in educating the black community on their gun rights.
My whole goal, and with our gun club there, and it's not just for African Americans, it's for anybody, but my whole goal predominantly is to educate within our culture. I think a lot of the problem that we have in our culture is people are not educated with firearms. You know, my first experience with a firearm was not typically how it should have been done. It was not how it should have been done. You know, I learned from friends, showing guns around, hey, I got a gun or something like that when I was 16. You know, it would have been good for somebody to actually formally sit me down, teach me the gun rules, the 4 gun rules, and exactly how I'm supposed to be doing, carrying my gun and how I'm supposed to be holding it. So, we're big within educating within our community about, our gun rights, the rights that you do have, and the responsibilities that you have too as well.
Pancham doesn't believe the Second Amendment should be a politically partisan issue.
I don't think the Second Amendment is political. It's not a left or a right thing. A lot of these people out here, they're probably on the right. And if I was actually sitting down and talking to them about politics and every single political position that I hold, I'm sure that we'll have a lot of differences. I probably don't agree with, most of the positions that they hold. But I think, we have to be able to put aside the things that we disagree on and come together in things that we do agree on. And when those things are like fundamental rights, something like the Second Amendment, well, I have no problem going and joining somebody, and fighting for a common cause.
The event was peaceful and no arrests were reported.
In Richmond, Theo Whitelow for Breaking Through.